mentioned two ways in which his company does exporting. He said we use distributors and we sell direct to retailers. There is a third way, and that is to appoint an agent. Okay, so those are the three ways you can export. Now, at the moment, you're working domestically. You're selling to retailers. Is that right? So if that's something you want to do abroad, you're going to need terms and conditions with your retailer abroad. So here's what I think you should do if you're contemplating that, is take out the terms and conditions you're using here and have a look and think about each clause, and would this work if I was selling abroad? So do these delivery timelines work for me? Am I able to deliver within X amount of orders? How am I going to accept orders? How am I going to fulfill? How are you going to get them there? You've got to go there somewhere, in a plane or a ship or a train or a bus or something. Payment. Are the payment terms going to work? You're probably quite lenient with UK customers because something goes wrong there in the UK. If you have a problem abroad, you're probably not going to do anything about it. So in your contract, it's going to say how you go about, suing people, but it's just not going to be practical. You're going to get that cash as much as you can up front, because it may be in a worst case scenario. I don't want to be too negative, but I am a lawyer dealing with this all the day. In a worst case scenario, we may have to say to you, look, it's just not going to be worth it, you actually suing them. One thing with going abroad, and this applies whether you're dealing with terms and conditions for a retailer, a distribution agreement or an agency agreement, is how you do resolve disputes. Because generally people say the law of the contract is, if you're dealing with the contract, you're saying it's English law. But if you're dealing with a customer in the US and you have English law and English courts, it's completely useless, because there are no reciprocal arrangements between us and the US and us and other countries. So when you're looking at your domestic terms and conditions, think about that and think, well, how would this work? How would we resolve disputes? Should we build in some sort of mediation, perhaps arbitration, should it come to it? Not that you're, probably ever going to get to that stage or even affect it, but it looks, more professional than just saying, oh yes, you say Californian law, let's just go with that. So, as I say, terms and conditions is the most straightforward arrangement, because you're just dealing direct with your customer. Look at the terms and conditions you have and think about how you would adapt them, because you're actually going abroad. The two other types of arrangements are distribution. Again, when I was talking about licensing, I said there are commercial terms and there's a whole load of legal stuff. Get familiar with the basic terms of distribution. For when you're starting out, be cautious. Going abroad is a risk. You're giving someone exclusive rights. Be a little bit stingy. Get them to prove themselves. Unless they're a known fantastic distributor and you're pretty reassured it's going to work out well because you've had references from other people in your industry, do a tester. Try and agree just a very short time, 6 months. How's this relationship going to go? Because apart from you having a fantastic product and they being a fantastic distributor, it is a relationship thing. So have short terms. Don't give them the whole world. Give them market by market, as they prove themselves, if they'll accept that. Now, just agency, because I know we're very, very short of time. Everyone knows what distribution agreement is it? You just sell a lot of product to a person who develops your product and sells in that territory. An agent is quite different. Again, it can be for a territory, but what they do is they go around and look for customers for you, and then put that customer in touch with you, and you supply that customer. Okay, so they're not buying product from you, they're just going around and building up your business. As with distribution and agency agreement, there's sort of standard commercial terms that if you want to do, to get on, you need to familiarise yourself with them and agree those commercial terms before you go into a long-winded agreement. I just want to say something a little bit quirky about agency agreements, that everything you agree with an agent is not everything that's on the piece of paper, because agency agreements are regulated under European law. So if you appoint an agent and they go and build up a great business for you, when you come to decide you don't want to deal with that agent anymore, you will be down to pay them compensation for their efforts. You can include in the agreement how that compensation will be arrived at, so there is a way of limiting your risk there, but there is a cost with agency, a hidden cost if you like, that might come at the end if you're not unawares. You can't write that cost out of the agreement. You can only get out of it, for example, if your agent doesn't perform. And with all these deals, we're now very well aware that we have to have agreements in which people have to do their bit in order to keep an agreement. But it's important to be aware that you need to take, once you've agreed your commercial terms with agency in particular, it would be a good idea to have someone just check over it to make sure you're minimising your risk. Because with all legal documents, it's, may seem sort of boring and everything, but the purpose of it is to minimise your risk, because bad things happen, it may not even be your fault, that can put your company in danger. Just one final word, because Jed said and other people have said we wanted to expand our brand, we wanted to get out there. Think about that if you're going into export. I mean, have you registered your brand here? Have you registered it abroad? It might be something the distributor is interested in. You don't want to go into the States, find out there's someone using a very similar name in the same category as you, and then that distributor gets slammed with one of those nasty cease and desist letters. So think about your brand as well. Okay, thanks very much.
That was great, actually.